In this video, I'm going to be explaining what an experience is actually made of. And the answer to that question is that it's just neurons in your brain. That's it. That's all it is. You can turn the video off now. You got the answer. Neurons in your brain. Beethoven's symphonies, just neurons. Just like electrical impulses in the brain. The Lord of the Rings, neurons. The pyramids of Giza, just neurons in the brain. It's all neurons. It's absurd. In this video, I'm going to be explaining what an experience is actually made of. Hey, it's Adam and welcome back to another video where I take some extremely profound existential questions and bring them down to earth for you and make them easy to understand. In this video, I'm going to be guiding you through the contemplation of what is an experience actually made of? What is the substance of an experience? Now, as I alluded to in the intro, no, an experience is not just neurons firing in the brain. That is a delusion of the scientific paradigm of reductionism. Reductionism is basically a scientific paradigm that is completely wrong, that modern science constantly falls into this mistaken frame of thought that you can understand the nature of something just by cutting it down into its most basic parts. So for example, if I want to explain what is Beethoven's 8th Symphony, Ode to Joy, I think that was his 9th Symphony. What is it? A scientist would say, okay, let's just boil it down to its most basic parts. Or, okay, it's just sound waves. And those sound waves are hitting the human ear, and then there's a chemical reaction in there, and then there's neurons that fire, and then your brain somehow relays to your consciousness, which, by the way, science doesn't even know what consciousness is. This is never explained. But your brain basically just shows you, even though we don't know who you is, again, see how there's a lot of holes in this system. Your brain shows you, which again, we don't know who that is yet. Science will not explain that. Your brain shows you the sound of Beethoven's 9th Symphony. And then Beethoven's 9th Symphony, what is it? Oh, it's just neurons in the brain. But notice how when you boil it down to its most basic parts, then you're losing the essence of what the Ode to Joy actually is. That symphony is more than just neurons in your brain. That experience of the symphony is something of itself. And we don't know what that thing is. Now, when I ask the question, what is an experience actually made of? Notice how what I'm asking in truth is, what is reality? What is reality actually made of? Because notice that you do not have access to reality. You don't even know that reality exists unless you are aware of it, unless it is happening in your experience. This is very simple to understand, but your mind is going to throw in some wrenches in the works because this contradicts what you've been taught your entire life. But look at your own experience and realize that there is no reality here unless you are having an experience of it. The only way we can have this conversation here is because you are conscious. You are aware of yourself, you are aware of reality, and that is what allows reality to exist, consciousness. Reality doesn't exist because of atoms and molecules. Reality exists because you are conscious of it. Now, a lot of people take this question of what is experience and they outsource it to another source. So when I ask the question, what is an experience made of? The automatic response is, oh, Adam, what are you doing here sitting in your room talking about philosophy? What? You're just wasting everyone's time. How can you possibly discover what an experience is? You don't have the proper technology. You don't have the proper training. You're not a doctor. You're not a physicist or a biologist, a neuroscientist. How could you know what an experience is? Now this is assuming that neuroscience and white lab coat science is a sufficient method for discovering what an experience is. And what I'm claiming in this video is that is nowhere near a sufficient method, and a better method, which has actually yielded more fruit for human beings, is the practice of meditation. So if you go and you study Buddhist philosophy, and you study Buddhism, they have texts, thousands of texts that they've compiled over 1,000, 2,000 years, all about explaining extremely precisely the nature of human experience. And their explanations are miles, far and away more accurate and more verifiable for you in your own experience compared to modern science saying that, oh, it's just neurons firing in your brain. Modern science will be in for a rude awakening when they discover that you cannot understand the nature of consciousness, the nature of experience, and the nature of self. You cannot understand these three things using a materialistic method. You can't find the nature of consciousness out in the world. You can't cut open a monkey's brain and try and discover the most foundational question of the entire universe. You have to introspect. You have to actually meditate. You have to spend time observing the nature of experience. So if you want to discover the nature of experience, which is possible for you to do, it's called spiritual enlightenment. This is a well-documented phenomenon, which is real. There's about 1,000 books written about it. Go pick one up and read it if you have any objections to this. Even if you don't have any objections to this, go read one of those books anyways. Where human beings have broken through to a new level of consciousness where they have direct understanding of what experience actually is. Now you may ask, how is this possible? How can you know what experience is just by getting enlightened or whatever that means? Well, notice that experience is available to you. You have the power to observe your own experience, to study it scientifically, to break it down, and to look very closely with awareness, with mindfulness. You can observe your own experience with discernment and actually see what it is. In the same way where, let's say you were a scientist and you wanted to learn about ants, then you would actually have to go out into the jungle and you would actually have to observe the ants. You'd have to look at their behaviors. You'd have to look at what they do very closely. You'd have to make certain distinctions between different types of ants. You'd have to observe the ants for 5 years, 10 years. You can't ask someone else about the ants. You can't tell someone else to study the ants for you, because then you're not learning about the ants. You have to go through the process yourself. So really, the question here is, what is your experience made of? What is it made of? Now, the number one obstacle to this inquiry here is that your ego mind is going to shut me down immediately, which is why already I've had to spend so much time just building up to this point where I can even begin to talk about what an experience is made of. Because your ego mind has so many defense mechanisms that it is going to throw at you that will prevent you from understanding this communication, because this is a very subtle and complex and tricky communication. When I talk about what is an experience, this is a threatening concept, because the nature of experience is not something that is going to sit well in your stomach. You're not going to like what an experience is actually made of. This won't serve you. This won't help you make more money. This might actually take a lot of the things that you know and love and throw them in the garbage. But truth is not about what you like. Truth is not about how it makes you feel. It's about what is the case. So it's funny, a lot of scientifically minded people, they love the facts and they're champions of truth. But when push comes to shove and I start talking about the nature of experience, all of a sudden truth flies out the window. And they could care less about meditation and Buddhism, saying, oh, Buddhism is just pseudoscience. Meditation, that's not real science. Real science is with a lab coat in a lab somewhere making graphs. This has nothing to do with truth. That's only one method. There's many methods. And certain methods are better than other methods for answering certain questions. So if you want to answer the nature of consciousness, you can't use a microscope. You have to use meditation, or maybe you have to use psychedelics. It's a scientific method. You have to use a different method. Why would you cut off certain methods? All methods can be valid based on what question you're asking. So science will not discover the nature of an experience by cutting open a brain. That's the wrong method. The real method, the method that has been proven to work for thousands of years for yogis and sages and still continues to work today and has even worked for me, is the method of meditation and contemplation. So let's start to get into it right now. What is an experience actually made of? Well, again, the number one obstacle is that you think that you already know what experience is. So if you want to do this inquiry, you have to abide in a state of not knowing. You have to become conscious right now that you are alive. You're in this thing called life. Somehow you're alive, you don't know how. And there is this thing around you called experience, but you don't know what it is. You don't know what it's made of. You don't know how it's happening. You don't know where it came from. And you don't know how it works. Now, the reason why I spent the whole first half of this video deconstructing the idea of neurons in the brain is because immediately that first answer that your ego gives you is, oh, this experience is just neurons in the brain, blah, blah. I'm just a stupid monkey on a rock. You're not just a stupid monkey on a rock. You are awareness and you have the ability to see for yourself what is happening in this experience. And you don't have to outsource it to another person. But first, you have to admit that you don't know what the fuck is going on at all. You have no clue. And there's nothing wrong with that. That's good. That's good. If so, even if you have ideas from other spiritual teachers, even if you're into spirituality and you're on board with me, and you're saying, yeah, Adam, tell them what experience is. Even if you're on board with me, you still don't know. That's the depth of this problem here. Let me turn off this light. I liked it better with the light on. I'm going to turn it back on. So, when you observe your own experience, you have to be in that state of wonder of, oh, I don't know what this is. Oh. And now here's the key insight for you. I'll stop holding it back from you. For you. I'll actually tell you what experience is. Experience is made of nothing other than itself. So I'll say that again. Experience is made of itself. Now, train your awareness on an experience, like your hand, for example. You can actually look at your hand and notice that there is nothing behind this hand. Nothing is causing this hand. This hand isn't made of something other than experience itself. The actual substance of what this is in your awareness is an experience. And what is an experience? It's just an experience. That's all that it is. It's not made of atoms. It's not made of molecules. It's not made of neurons. It's not even made of God or whatever spiritual concept you have of what it's made of. It's not made of spirit or matter. It's made of none of that stuff. What it's made of is pure consciousness or pure nothingness. So when I say this word pure consciousness, you don't actually know what that means. So when I say experience is made of pure consciousness, your mind doesn't even know what pure consciousness is. That's just a word to you. So that's why you have to actually observe your own experience and look and become conscious that this experience here is made of nothing. It's actually just, it's nothing. It's just an appearance. It's like a hallucination. It's like a dream. It's made of nothing. When you're dreaming at night and you look at your hand, if you can do that, you look at your hand in your dream, what's that hand made of? It's not made of atoms. Certainly not made of neurons. What is it actually made of? It's just made of nothing. It's made of your own hand. Now here comes the objection. How can something be made of nothing at all? How is that possible? Great question. A tough question. I talk about it a bit in my episode, What is the Observer? Where I really explain what is the self, what is your true nature. But the question of how can something be made of nothing, there actually is no difference between something and nothing. So when you look at your hand and you call this hand something. Oh, my hand is something. This pen is something. This is a real thing. But what is it made of? It's made of nothing at all. It's not made of anything in particular. It's just made of itself. It's self-arising. It's made of pure awareness. There is no separation between me, the observer, and this object that is being observed. They're the same thing. My nature, my true nature, is formlessness, that which is beyond form. Right? You've heard that before if you're into spirituality, that the self is formlessness. But formlessness manifests itself spontaneously into an infinite variety of forms. Because if we look at the qualities of formlessness or the qualities of nothingness, normally when I say the word nothingness, your mind automatically thinks of something that's black or something that's large, maybe an empty, big space. But true nothingness, existential nothingness, does not have the quality of blackness or of emptiness or even of largeness. True nothingness has no qualities. It is beyond qualities. Meaning that it is unlimited. It is not limited to be any certain way. True nothingness is so free, so formless, that it can manifest itself to appear as any form that it wants to without limitation, including a human body, including a phone, including a window, including a tree or a cat or a dog. True nothingness, otherwise known as God or the Creator or Spirit, that thing, whatever you want to call it, is nothing. It's made of nothing, but at the same time, it is free to manifest itself as something, as anything. So when I talk about what is an experience made of, the answer is that an experience is made of God. And God is another word for true nothingness, formlessness. Formlessness that is so formless that it does not even seem formless. Formlessness is so formless that it is an infinity, a plenum of forms, any possible form. Unlimited infinity, anything it wants to be. So again, if I look at this pen, right? This pen is actually appearing as nothingness. Do you grasp this? I'm aware of this right now. This pen is not actually a pen. It's a manifestation of nothing. It has no substance. It's substanceless. It's like a dream. It's made of mind. And mind is just nothing. It's made of nothing. This is extremely profound stuff. I hope you're getting it. Most people have the idea that in order for reality to exist, in order for something to exist, then it must be caused by something else. So an experience must be caused by neurons or light. The universe must be caused by the Big Bang or by God or something. But what if something can exist without any cause at all, because something doesn't actually exist. The only thing that exists is nothing. And nothing and something are the same thing. There's only nothing. Nothing looks like something. And notice that nothingness does not require a cause. It is groundless. So when you ask me, how was the universe created? I answer, it wasn't. A better question is, how are you imagining that the universe is being created when the only thing you have available to you is just nothingness? Why do you think the universe was created? Now, that being said, yes, forms exist. Yes, human bodies exist. Yes, Beethoven's symphonies exist. Your whole life exists. But it is like a dream. There is nothing underlying your life. There is nothing underneath this experience right here. There's no brain that's causing it. There's no atoms or molecules that are creating it, which we've proved with quantum mechanics. Atoms aren't a nucleus with electrons spinning around it. It's a probability wave, otherwise known as basically nothing. I laugh when scientists are like, atoms are 99.9% empty space. I'm just like, so what you're saying is that everything is made of nothing. And it's the same thing. So if you really want to answer this question, what is an experience made of? Just take a look. Don't ask a scientist, because they're going to tell you some type of concept, some type of idea. Everything I have given you here is just an idea. It's just a concept to you. It has no use to you. Throw it out. You don't need these ideas. What you need is to realize that what I'm trying to tell you is to do the investigation for yourself. And when you're doing the investigation, throw the ideas out. Now, you can use these axioms as a guide, kind of like a raft. You can use the raft to cross the river to get to the other side. When you're on the other side, you'll have more consciousness of what an experience actually is. But after you're done using the raft, throw it out. You don't need it anymore. Leave it there for someone else. You're not going to take the raft and carry it with you on your back and start yelling at people, experience is made of nothing, science doesn't know what it's talking about. You're not going to become dogmatic and ideological. You're not going to adopt what I'm saying here as a philosophy or an ideology. Just let it go. You don't need what I'm saying. Just as a raft to get to the other side. Once you get to the other side, let it go. Another thing to keep in mind when you're doing this investigation for yourself is that direct experience is king, and nothing is hidden from you. You already are aware of what experience is. You don't even have to meditate for 1,000 hours to figure out what it is. You already know what it is. It's right here. You're not going to be meditating and then all of a sudden the clouds are going to part and you're going to see something that wasn't there before. Yes, you still have to contemplate. You still have to put in the hours and the time actually chewing on this. But notice that when you finally grasp it, when you have that aha moment, nothing changes. Everything is exactly the same. So nothing is hidden from you. The Buddha is not going to come down on a cloud and give you a secret teaching that wasn't already available to you. Everything is available in your experience right now. You're not going to get enlightened in 5 years. So when you're contemplating, when you're actually checking out, okay, what is my experience? You can actually sit down and do this for 30 minutes. That will be the most profound thing you've ever done in your entire life. Sit down and just with an open mind, not knowing what the hell is going on, just question. Throw out everything I said and just look. What is an experience? What is it? And just look, focus, and look for 30 minutes. And as you're looking, entertain the possibility that right now you are enlightened. Right now you have the awareness. Right now your very being, your awareness is already pure and awake. You don't need more meditation to become awake in the future time. Realize you're awake now. Nothing is hidden from you. Observe the experience. And then don't use what I'm saying here as an excuse to stop meditating. You still have to meditate. You still have to contemplate. You still have to go on retreats. You still have to experiment with psychedelics in a responsible way. But while you're doing that, you have to entertain the paradox that right now I'm awake. I'm awake right now. I'm enlightened right now. I'm not going to get enlightened in the future. My innate nature is enlightenment. I already have full access to the wisdom of God. I already know what an experience is. But then at the same time, you have to still meditate, still be in the state of not knowing, still in that state of wonder. Keep telling yourself that you don't know what an experience is. You actually don't know. I have no freaking clue what an experience is at all. And the problem is that I'm living my life. I'm doing stuff. Stuff is happening. I'm doing work on my computer. I'm going to school. I'm going to work. I'm making money. Talking to my girlfriend. Talking to my family. Eating dinner. Doing all that stuff. But I don't know what an experience is. That's an issue. See, that's a problem, you see? Why would you even want to live if you become conscious now that you don't even know what living is? You don't even know what the substance of reality is. This is almost like the first order of business. First, figure out what the fuck is going on. Then you can go enjoy pleasures. Then you can go eat some good food and make money and all that stuff. Now, of course, this has to happen at the same time as each other. Unless you want to go move to a cave and meditate in the freezing cold, then you can do that. But if you want to keep living in the world, you need to balance spirituality with real life considerations, like business and relationships and that kind of stuff. So don't neglect spirituality, but also don't neglect worldly concerns. It's just balance. You got to balance it. Some weeks you're going to spend more time focusing on what is an experience. What the hell? This is important. This is important information for me to become conscious of. I need to fucking know what the hell is going on. Right? Or else I'm living like a zombie, just walking around pretending like everything is real. Meanwhile, it's clearly not. It's clearly made of nothingness. Everything is empty. It's made of nothing. There's nothing to be serious about. At the same time, you still have to take your life very seriously. You got to still build your skills. You got to make money. You got to educate yourself. You got to still exercise, eat healthy, be nice to people, be compassionate, all that stuff. So there's a balancing act, a paradox going on. Nothing matters at all, but you have to take it seriously. Everything is just a dream. Everything is made of nothing. Yet, you still have to put your full effort and attention into your life. And that's how I'm going to end off this video. If you enjoyed this video, leave me a like, share this with your friends. I hope you like this. If you like this kind of content, if you prefer the more spiritual, existentially profound content, then let me know in the comment section below. If you like this, if this resonates with you, then stay tuned because I have more content like this on the way, a lot more content on the way. I have some amazing videos planned. These types of existential contemplation, it's not just going to be, oh, it's nothingness every single time. Even though that's fun and that's important to realize. But there's also some more subtle, nuanced aspects of spirituality, such as law of attraction, even developmental psychology, spiral dynamics, the stages of consciousness. That's important to understand. Also ego, the mechanics of ego. That's a video I've been working on for a while now. And it's coming out in the near future. So if you enjoy that, if you're excited for that, stay tuned. And that's it. I'll see you in the next one. A paradox going on. Nothing matters at all, but you have to take it seriously. Everything is just a dream. Everything is made of nothing. Yet, you still have to put your full effort and attention into your life. And that's how I'm going to end off this video. If you enjoyed this video, leave me a like, share this with your friends. I hope you like this. If you like this kind of content, if you prefer the more spiritual, existentially profound content, then let me know in the comment section below. If you like this, if this resonates with you, then stay tuned because I have more content like this on the way, a lot more content on the way. I have some amazing videos planned. These types of existential contemplation, it's not just going to be, oh, it's nothingness every single time. Even though that's fun and that's important to realize. But there's also some more subtle, nuanced aspects of spirituality, such as law of attraction, even developmental psychology, spiral dynamics, the stages of consciousness. That's important to understand. Also ego, the mechanics of ego. That's a video I've been working on for a while now. And it's coming out in the near future. So if you enjoy that, if you're excited for that, stay tuned. And that's it. I'll see you in the next one.